Hello fantasy managers, and welcome back to another video from myself, Will, and Fantasy Football Hub. In this video is going to be your complete guide to all things double game week 24. So I know we're still a few game weeks away from game week 24, but I think it's important to be aware of it and already to start planning for it. So in this video, we're going to be having a look at the upcoming fixtures for before game week 24, on game week 24, and also after game week 24, because I think that's really important. We're going to be having a look at the best players to own, who you should be targeting, and last but no means least, we'll be having a look at chip strategy and what chip, if any, you should be playing in double game week 24. Let's get to it. Okay, so first things first, this is the fixtures in double game week 24, and as you can see, Liverpool and West Ham are the only teams to have two games in double game week 24. And Liverpool play Wolves and West Ham, so they're pretty favourable fixtures. Both of those are away from home, but still those are pretty good fixtures. So for me, looking at that, it's obvious you need three Liverpool players. I think that's going to be an absolute must in this double game week. And that's even further strengthened by the fact that they have pretty good fixtures before and after. So this is the Hub fixture ticker. It shows fixture difficulties, and this is sorted by overall fixture strength over the next 5 game weeks, and you can see Liverpool are top there. Tottenham and Man United in the next two, slightly tricky, but you'd expect Liverpool to do well against them. They've been doing well against all the teams. And then of course we've got the double, and then after that it's a very nice run. You've got Southampton, Norwich and West Ham at home, so really good set of fixtures for Liverpool there. Coming on to West Ham, they are actually bottom of the fixture ticker, so they got Sheffield United away, tough match. Everton at home. Again, you know, Everton, they've looking a little bit more assured with Ancelotti at the helm. Leicester away and Liverpool at home in the double game week. That's going to be tricky to say the least. You know, two very good teams. Then they got Brighton at home. That's a good fixture, but then they got Liverpool and Man City away in the next 2 game weeks as well. So really tough upcoming fixtures for West Ham. Okay, so for double game weeks, I think we can sometimes get a bit carried away with them, and I know it's always fun having as many double game weeks players as you can get. I think in this instance, with West Ham having difficult fixtures around the double game week and a very tricky double game week fixture, I think this could be one instance where we do actually want to avoid West Ham. I say avoid, you know, potentially you could go with Fabianski, as I mentioned. I'm going to be keeping an eye on them against Sheffield United and Everton, so I haven't ruled out getting one asset potentially, but for this video I'm going to ignore them. Actually, the main question is what Liverpool assets you get. So for now I'm going to ignore West Ham. I might come back to it in a later video, but in terms of our long-term planning, I think probably we want to focus on the Liverpool assets. Okay, this is a point per start for Liverpool assets. Now I know I showed this in my game week preview video, so if you haven't seen that, I would also go check that out. I'll go into a little bit more detail of this, but this is points per start for all Liverpool assets so far this season. And as you can see, Mane coming out top, Salah in second place. There isn't a huge difference between them. Actually, I thought they'd be bigger. You know, Mane, he's really been bossing those points, but actually there's not a massive difference between them. And, you know, actually, if you look at the expected data, you know, the underlying numbers, that's actually saying that Salah should have scored 7.2 points per start and Mane should actually score 6.8. So Mane's slightly outperforming his numbers, but you know, Mane's been doing that for a while. And the other thing to say about Mane over Salah is that he tends to pick up more bonus points, which might also explain why he's getting more points per start overall. And if you come to a double game week, you know, he's getting 4 extra bonus points potentially over those 2 games. If he's your captain, that's an extra 8 points, and potentially as your triple captain, will come to chips a little bit later, but that's an extra 12 points. So those bonus points can really add up, and I think that that's certainly in Mane's favour. But we're going to come to a more detailed comparison between the two a little bit later. Interestingly, Trent Alexander-Arnold there coming in third for points per start. And for me, I think he is probably the most essential player to own, actually. You know, I think you need either Mane or Salah for that captaincy, but the shoe-in with the player that you really should own is Trent Alexander-Arnold. You know, he has been absolutely bossing this season. I think there is merit in getting Robertson and Van Dijk as well. A lot of people talking about Firmino there, but I think that he is a step below the other 5 in terms of fancy picks and what the data shows, and my personal eye test. As the data shows there, you're paying extra money for less of an output per start for Firmino, and he's also taking up one of those forward slots. So for me, I'm not considering Firmino for one of my 3 picks. So we asked a poll on Twitter. Go follow us at FFH_HQ if you do not already on Twitter. And what is the best trio for double game week 24? And 61% of you said Salah, Mane and Trent Alexander-Arnold, which I think is quite staggering. I wasn't expecting such a high percentage to go that way. But I think it just goes to show, looking back at this chart, those are the top 3 players. Those are the players that have been scoring the most points this season per start. So I think what this poll is telling us that if you had an unlimited budget, Salah, Mane and Trent would be the best trio to go for. I don't think there's too much arguing that. They have been the highest point scorers so far this season. They got the best point per start. But in FPL, obviously, we have a budget to work with, and Salah, Mane and Trent have taken up a huge amount of your budget, which might leave the rest of your team unbalanced. So that's where this next chart comes in. This is points per million. So this is effectively showing you the best value players. This table is sorted by points per million. As you can see there, Trent Alexander-Arnold coming out on top. So that kind of reiterates what I went over earlier. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold is a very, very good pick for this double game week. Interestingly, the defenders, Robertson and Van Dijk, coming in second and third place there. And I think that those are very good picks as well. And I think there's a lot of merit actually going for the defensive double up. I do think, though, that you need one of Mane and Salah because obviously that offers the captaincy route. So I think your choice is whether to go with Salah and Mane and go for that big double up in midfield and one of those defenders, or potentially a double up in defence and one of Mane and Salah. If you're going to go for the double up in defence, then it's really which one of Mane and Salah do you go for? I think they're both brilliant options. They have been proven to be both brilliant options this season. Mane has definitely been the better option this season, I would say, in terms of his points output. You can see that in his point per game that we showed earlier. I would say that Salah's numbers over the last 6 game weeks have been stronger than Mane's. He's got more shots in the box, more shots on target, more shots in general, more touches in the box, higher expected assists, big chances created. These are all the type of numbers that you look for as a precursor to fancy points, and indeed he has scored slightly better than Mane over that time. Mane is still scoring very, very well, by the way. I would say that Mane does tend to get more big chances, as this graph show, and he is very good at converting those big chances. And his numbers have generally been actually slightly worse than Salah's for quite some time. But in terms of FPL, he's been managing to outscore Salah despite having slightly worse numbers. Now his numbers are still good. That graph there, I think that's a very, very strong fancy player, but on balance, Salah does look like the slightly better option at the moment for me, even though Mane is known for converting those chances, especially when you take into consideration that, when Milner's not on the pitch, Salah is on penalties. So for me, I think that I currently own Salah, I don't own Mane, and I would probably edge, if I for my captain for that game week, I'm pretty set on going for Salah. So that kind of tells me that I'd probably edge towards that as an option, but I do think Mane is a fantastic route, and I'm certainly thinking about doing the double up with those. If you're not thinking about doing the double up in midfield, you'll be looking to go for a double up in defence, and at the moment you probably want to go either Robertson or Van Dijk. You could look at Gomez. I do think he will start both of them, but he just doesn't offer enough for me for him to warrant a place in your team, and I think those Liverpool slots are precious. Some people might disagree, but for me, I think you want one Robertson and Van Dijk. They both are very, very good FPL picks. Both offer a lot of attacking output, which you want, and bonus potential. So, this chart here shows that Robertson is probably the slightly better option of the two. Van Dijk is, of course, coming in a little bit cheap, and I think he's a very strong option. With Van Dijk, he's absolutely 100% nailed on to start, which could potentially be important in the double. I do think that Robertson will start both. Having said that, if I had to choose, I'd probably go with Robertson, but if you can't stretch to Robertson for whatever reason for your budget, then Van Dijk is a fantastic shout as well. And I think that going for a double up with Trent and one of these is a very viable strategy. So in terms of the strategy that I'm going for in my team, I haven't quite completely decided, to be honest, but I think I want the players that can score the most points, and that undoubtedly is Trent, Salah and Mane. So I'm going to try and squeeze Mane in. At the moment, I've got Trent and Salah, so I'm going to try and find a way to get Mane into my team and figure out how to do that. And that kind of requires some planning now, which is kind of why I made this video, because if you do want to try and squeeze those 3 in, then you kind of need to think about that now and make a plan for it in your team if you haven't already got those. Okay, so what chips should you use in double game week 24? Well, it's important to kind of consider what are the other upcoming blank and double game weeks when you're thinking about your chip strategy. And as you can see, after game week 24, we do have a possible blank in game week 28. We've got a locked in blank for game week 31, when that will be the FA Cup quarterfinals. We've got a possible blank and double game week in game week 34, and a certain double game week in game week 37. So we've got lots of blanks and doubles upcoming. And I think that it's important to kind of take that into consideration. I personally wouldn't be thinking about using my free hit or my bench boost. That's completely out of the question for the upcoming double game week. But I do think there is a very strong argument to be made for using your triple captain chip, because obviously you've got Mane and Salah there, who have been top forming players really this season, along with Vardy, and they've got some couple of favourable fixtures. They look like they're both going to be nailed on for those fixtures, and I think the logic says that you really should be playing your triple captainship. Now, I think I'm going to be playing it on Salah. I haven't completely made my mind up. The one exception to that is that Leicester might have a fairly favourable double game week later on in the season, where you might want to be playing your triple captainship on Vardy. I should also say a thanks to Ben Krelling. Go drop him a follow on Twitter, because he is a double game week guru. He's also a contributor on the hub, and I'll go over his plan a little bit later, but he is the go-to person for double game weeks. And of course, we're going to be covering all the double game week information on this YouTube channel, so if you're not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. So according to Ben, this is going to be the most popular chip strategy for the upcoming gaming, and I think I probably agree with him. I think there might be some differentiators of when you play your wild card. I think possibly some people, myself included, might be playing that wild card earlier, but that's going to be free hit in blank game week 31, wild card in game week 36, bench boost in 37, and triple captain in a smaller double game week. And that smaller double game week could very, very well be game week 24. So I think triple captainship makes a lot of sense to play it in the upcoming game week. There might be a smaller double game week potentially involving Leicester, and you might consider Jamie Vardy for that. I think that would also be a good strategy, but we don't know details about that. But this double game we do know a lot about, and I think that is a really good opportunity to play your triple captain chip, and that I will probably be playing it myself. As I said, Ben Krelin has his FPL planning sheet on Fantasy Football Hub. I'll put a link to that in the description if you want to go check that out. We're also doing a free trial. Just go to fantasyfootballhub.co.uk free trial. You can use the comparison tool that I demonstrated in this video. You can use our Opta Stats tool, and of course get access to Ben Krellin's FPL planning sheet, which is a Google spreadsheet, and it's a really great way of visualizing your team. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'll probably be covering double game week in more detail as we get closer to the time, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, and please hit that like button if you did enjoy this video. Bye for now.